You need to leave him. Now. The text message glowed on Maya's phone at 3 a.m. from a number she didn't recognize. Attached was a photo, her grandmother leaving church, a red circle drawn around her like a target. Some games have consequences you can't afford to pay. Maya's hands trembled as she stared at the threat. Just 3 days ago, she'd kissed Kang Min-jae in his Manhattan office, believing love could conquer anything. She was wrong. In this episode, you'll discover how Park Seo-Yeon's revenge turns Maya's fairy tale into a nightmare, how a leaked photo threatens everything Min-jae has built, and why Maya must make an impossible choice between the man she's falling for and the grandmother who raised her. If you missed episode 1, go watch it right now so this makes sense. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because episode 3 is going to blow your mind. Tell me in the comments if you think Maya should fight back or walk away. I need to know what team you're on. Maya hadn't slept in 3 days. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that photograph, the one splashed across every gossip website, every social media platform, every news outlet in Manhattan. Min-jae kissing her in his office, the image grainy but unmistakable, captured by a telephoto lens from the building across the street. The headlines were brutal. Korean billionaire's mystery woman revealed. From Brooklyn to billions, the social worker who stole Min-jae's heart. Who is Maya Johnson? Everything we know about Kang Min-jae's new girlfriend. Her phone hadn't stopped ringing. Her email was flooded. Someone had found her social media accounts and leaked her graduation photos, her volunteer work pictures, even screenshots of her undergraduate essays. Every detail of her life was being picked apart by strangers who thought they had a right to judge her. "Baby girl, you need to eat something," her grandmother said, setting down a plate of food Maya couldn't even look at. They were sitting in their small Brooklyn apartment, curtains drawn because a photographer had been camped outside their building since yesterday morning. "I'm not hungry, Grandma." "You haven't been hungry for 3 days." Her grandmother's voice was gentle but firm. "That boy worth all this trouble?" Maya looked up, tears burning in her eyes. "I don't know. I thought I did, but now, everything's spinning out of control." Her grandmother sat down heavily, her weathered hand covering Maya's. "Love ain't supposed to be easy, but it ain't supposed to destroy you either. You need to figure out which one this is." Before Maya could answer, her phone buzzed. Min-jae. Again. She'd been avoiding his calls since the photo leaked, unable to face him, unable to explain the fear that had taken root in her chest. But this time, the message was different. "I'm downstairs. Please. Just 5 minutes." Maya's heart lurched. "He's here." "Then you better go talk to him," her grandmother said. "Running don't solve nothing." Min-jae looked exhausted. He was leaning against his car, a different one this time, less conspicuous, probably trying not to draw attention. But even in jeans and a simple black sweater, he looked like he'd stepped out of a magazine. The photographer across the street was already snapping photos. "You shouldn't be here," Maya said, wrapping her cardigan tighter around herself. The October air was cold, biting through her thin clothes. "You won't answer my calls." His voice was rough, strained. "What was I supposed to do? Not come to my grandmother's building where everyone can see you?" Maya hissed, hyper-aware of the curtains twitching in nearby windows, of the photographer's camera clicking away. "You're making everything worse." "How can I make it worse? Our photo is already everywhere. The damage is done." "The damage?" Maya's voice rose. "Min-jae, do you know what the last 3 days have been like for me? People I've never met are dissecting my entire life online. Someone posted my undergraduate GPA and debated whether I'm smart enough to date you. My supervisor at the community center asked me to take a leave of absence because I'm becoming a distraction. A reporter offered my neighbor money to talk about me. This isn't just damage. This is my life falling apart." Min-jae's jaw tightened. "I know, and I'm sorry, but running away from me isn't going to fix it. Maybe not, but being with you is what caused it in the first place." The words came out sharper than she intended, and she saw him flinch. "So that's it." His voice was quiet, dangerous. "You're giving up? We had one perfect night, one real conversation, one moment where we both felt something genuine, and you're throwing it away because of some photographs." "It's not just photographs." Maya's voice cracked. "It's your world, Min-jae. A world I don't belong in. A world that's already eating me alive, and we haven't even been on a real date yet. Then let me protect you." "I don't want to need protecting," Maya shouted, then immediately lowered her voice as the photographer moved closer. "Don't you see? If I need you to protect me from your own life, then we're already doomed. The silence that fell between them was heavy, suffocating. Min-jae's dark eyes searched her face, and Maya saw the exact moment something shifted in his expression, hurt giving way to determination. "You're scared," he said quietly. "And I understand that. But Maya, I've spent my entire life letting fear dictate my choices. Fear of disappointing my father. Fear of failing the family business. Fear of never being seen as anything but a name and a bank account. And then I met you, and for the first time in years, I wasn't afraid. Don't let them take that from us." Maya's throat tightened. What if it's not enough? What if it is? He stepped closer, his voice dropping to barely a whisper. "Give me 2 weeks. 2 weeks to show you that my world isn't all cameras and gossip columns. 2 weeks to prove that what we felt that night was real. And if after 2 weeks you still want to walk away, I'll let you go. No drama. No grand gestures. I'll disappear from your life completely." Min-jae. 2 weeks, Maya. What do you have to lose? Everything, Maya thought. I have everything to lose. But looking into his eyes, seeing the vulnerability there, the desperate hope, she found herself nodding before her brain could catch up with her heart. 2 weeks, she whispered. But we do this my way. No fancy restaurants where we'll be photographed. No public displays. Just normal. Can you do normal? For the first time in days, Min-jae smiled. For you? I can try. What Maya didn't know was that across town, in a penthouse office even more luxurious than Min-jae's, Park Seo-Yeon was watching footage of their Brooklyn Street confrontation on her tablet, her perfectly manicured nails drumming against her desk. She agreed to 2 weeks, her assistant reported, standing nervously by the door. Our source says they're planning to keep things low-key. Seo-Yeon's laugh was cold, brittle. Low-key. How cute. She actually thinks she can have a normal relationship with Kong Min-jae. She looked up, her eyes glittering with malice. Did you send the message to her phone? The one with her grandmother's photo? Yes, ma'am. Last night at 3 a.m. And? No response yet. But our source says she looked terrified. Good. Seo-Yeon stood, walking to her floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan. From here, the city looked like a toy, small and controllable. Fear is useful. It makes people careless. It makes them run. And when she runs, and she will run, Min-jae will finally see her for what she is. A coward. Someone not worthy of the Kong name. What if she doesn't run? The assistant asked hesitantly. Seo-Yeon's smile was razor-sharp. Then we'll give her a reason to. Contact our people at the tabloids. I want every skeleton in Maya Johnson's closet exposed. Every childhood mistake. Every embarrassing moment. Every reason why she's not good enough for him. And if there aren't enough skeletons. She paused, her expression turning calculating. We'll create some. Ma'am, that seems. Do you work for me or not? Seo-Yeon's voice cut like a whip. Yes, ma'am. Then do as I say. Min-jae thinks he can humiliate my family and walk away unscathed. He's about to learn that some games have consequences. She turned back to the window, her reflection ghostly in the glass. Maya Johnson won't survive 2 weeks in our world. I'll make certain of it. The first date was at a small bookstore in Queens. Min-jae showed up in jeans and a baseball cap, looking so different from the polished CEO Maya had met at the hotel that she almost didn't recognize him. Almost. Because even dressed down, even trying to blend in, he still moved with that unconscious confidence that came from never having to worry about money or status. You're staring, he said, amused. You look weird, Maya blurted, then immediately wanted to take it back. I mean, not weird. Just different. Normal different. Should I be offended? Probably. But she was smiling despite herself. They wandered through the bookstore, a dusty, cramped space that smelled like old paper and possibility. Min-jae seemed fascinated by everything, the worn spines, the handwritten staff recommendations, the way books were stacked in precarious towers because there wasn't enough shelf space. This is nothing like the bookstores I usually go to, he admitted, pulling out a collection of Pablo Neruda poems. Let me guess. Yours have leather chairs and serve champagne. Espresso, actually. But yes. He opened the book, his fingers gentle on the yellowed pages. My father thinks reading poetry is a waste of time. He burned my collection once when I was 16. Maya's breath caught. He burned your books. All of them. Said I needed to focus on business, not dreams. Min-jae's voice was carefully neutral, but Maya heard the old hurt underneath. I started collecting again in college, but I keep them hidden now. In a storage unit he doesn't know about. That's. Maya struggled for words. That's heartbreaking. That's my family. He looked at her then, really looked at her. You asked me once what I wanted. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to create something beautiful instead of just profitable. But that's not the life I was born into. It could still be your life, Maya said softly. It's not too late. Isn't it? His smile was sad. I'm 31 years old, Maya. I run a company with 20,000 employees. I have responsibilities, obligations. I can't just walk away and write poetry. Why not? The question hung between them, simple and devastating. Min-jae stared at her like she'd spoken a foreign language. Because. He trailed off, then laughed, a sound without humor. I don't actually have a good answer to that. Then maybe, Maya said, taking the poetry book from his hands, you should stop looking for one. Sometimes the right choice is the one that scares you most. She bought him the book. He protested, said it was ridiculous for her to spend money on him when he could buy the entire bookstore without denting his bank account. But Maya insisted, and when she handed him the paper bag with his purchase, she saw something shift in his expression. Wonder, maybe, or gratitude that someone had given him something simply because they wanted to, not because they wanted something in return. They were leaving the bookstore when Maya saw it. A man with a camera, not even trying to hide, positioned across the street and photographing them through the window. Min-jae, she said quietly, her stomach dropping. He followed her gaze and his expression darkened. Stay here. What? No. But he was already striding across the street, moving with that commanding presence that made people instinctively step aside. Maya watched, frozen, as he confronted the photographer. She couldn't hear the conversation, but she saw Min-jae's body language, controlled fury, barely leashed aggression. The photographer backed up, hands raised defensively, but she could also see him smirking, could see that he'd already gotten what he came for. When Min-jae returned, his jaw was tight. I'm sorry. I thought we'd have more time before they found us. It's only been one date, Maya said, her voice hollow. One date, Min-jae, and they already tracked us down. How are we supposed to do this if we can't go anywhere without being followed? We'll figure it out. Will we? Maya's voice rose, drawing stares from passersby. Or are you going to spend the next 2 weeks confronting photographers while I hide in corners, hoping no one recognizes me? Maya, I need to go home. She was already backing away, needing space, needing air, needing to not feel like her life was a spectator sport. I'm sorry. I need to think. She left him standing on the Queen Street corner, the poetry book clutched in his hands, looking lost in a way that made her heart ache. But she kept walking, because if she stopped, if she looked back, she might not be able to leave at all. The photo appeared online 6 hours later. Kang Min-jae's secret date with Brooklyn girl, inside their normal romance. The article was accompanied by a dozen photos, Maya and Min-jae in the bookstore, browsing poetry, her buying him the book, them leaving together. The photographer had even caught the moment on the street when they'd argued. Maya's face twisted in distress, Min-jae reaching for her as she walked away. The comments were vicious. She's not even that pretty. What does he see in her? Gold digger alert. She's probably broke and using him for money. I give them 2 weeks before she shows her true colors. He could have anyone. Why is he slumming it with some nobody from Brooklyn? Maya read every comment, each one a small cut, until her grandmother physically took the phone from her hands. Stop torturing yourself, her grandmother said firmly. Those people don't know you. They don't matter. They do matter. Maya's voice cracked. Because this is what my life is now. Every time I step outside, I'm being photographed, judged, torn apart by strangers who think they have a right to my story. And for what? For a man I've known for less than 2 weeks? A man whose world is so different from mine that we can't even go to a bookstore without it becoming international news. Her grandmother was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, You remember when your parents died? You were 8 years old. You didn't talk for 3 months. Just sat in that corner of your room, staring at nothing, like the world had ended. Maya closed her eyes against the memory. I didn't know how to reach you, her grandmother continued. Didn't know how to tell you that life goes on, even when it breaks you. So I just sat with you. Every day, for 3 months, I sat in that corner with you. Didn't say nothing. Just sat. And one day, you looked at me and said, Grandma, I'm scared. I remember, Maya whispered. And you know what I told you? Her grandmother's weathered hand found Maya's. I said, being scared don't mean you quit. It means you're doing something that matters. That boy out there, he matters to you. I can see it. The question is, does he matter enough for you to be scared and keep going anyway? Before Maya could answer, her phone rang. Not Min-jae this time. A number she didn't recognize, but with a Manhattan area code. Hello. Maya Johnson? The voice was female, professional, cold. This is Jessica Park from the New York Chronicle. I'm working on a story about your relationship with Kong Min-jae, and I thought you might want to comment before we publish. Maya's blood ran cold. Comment on what? Well, we've been doing some digging into your background. It seems there are some inconsistencies in your graduate school applications. Questions about whether you really earned that scholarship or if there were other factors at play. We'd love to hear your side of the story. What are you talking about? I earned that scholarship fair and square. Did you? Because according to our sources, there were several more qualified candidates who were passed over in favor of you. Makes people wonder if there were diversity quotas at play. Affirmative action. You understand how that looks, right? Especially now that you're dating one of the most powerful Korean businessmen in America. Maya felt like she'd been slapped. That's not, you can't. We publish tomorrow at noon. If you want to give a statement, you have until 10 a.m. The line went dead. Maya stared at her phone, her hands shaking so badly she nearly dropped it. Baby girl, what's wrong? There. Maya couldn't form the words. They're going after my education, implying I didn't earn my scholarship, that I only got into grad school because of. She couldn't even say it. The implication was clear, that she hadn't earned her success, that everything she'd worked for, every late night studying, every sacrifice her grandmother had made, was being reduced to quotas and handouts. Her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. Then another. And another. All reporters, all asking for comments, all with veiled accusations disguised as questions. And then she saw the text message. The one from 3 a.m. The one with her grandmother's photo. A new message appeared underneath it. Last warning. Walk away from him, or everyone you love pays the price. We have photos of your grandmother at her doctor's appointments. We know about her heart condition. Would be a shame if that information became public. If her insurance premiums suddenly skyrocketed because of all this media attention on you. These are the consequences of playing in our world, Maya. Leave now, or we destroy you both. Maya's vision blurred with tears. This wasn't love. This wasn't romance. This was warfare, and she was a civilian caught in the crossfire. With trembling fingers, she typed out a message to Min-jae. We need to talk. Tomorrow. Alone. His response came immediately. Anything. Anytime. I'm here. But as Maya looked at her grandmother, her sweet, strong grandmother who had sacrificed everything to raise her, she knew what she had to do. Some battles couldn't be won. Some games were rigged from the start. And some loves, no matter how real they felt, weren't worth the cost of losing everything else. Min-jae knew something was wrong the moment he saw Maya's face. They met at a private location this time, the rooftop garden of one of his properties, a space closed to the public where no cameras could reach them. The October wind whipped around them, cold and bitter, matching the expression in Maya's eyes. Thank you for meeting me, she said, her voice carefully controlled. Maya, what's going on? You sounded upset. I can't do this anymore. The words came out in a rush, like she'd been holding them back and couldn't contain them any longer. The 2 weeks. Us. Whatever this is. I can't. Min-jae felt like the ground had disappeared beneath his feet. What happened? Tell me what happened. Everything happened. Maya's composure cracked. A reporter called me yesterday, questioning whether I earned my graduate school scholarship or if I just benefited from affirmative action. Another one is writing an article about my family's finances, implying my grandmother and I are gold diggers. Someone leaked my grandmother's medical records. Did you know she has a heart condition? Because now everyone on the internet does. And I've been getting text messages, Min-jae. Threatening messages with photos of my grandmother, telling me to leave you alone or face the consequences. Min-jae's blood ran cold. What? Show me. No. Maya stepped back when he reached for her phone. Because if I show you, you'll do something noble and protective, and it won't matter. Don't you see? This isn't about one reporter or one threat. This is what your world is. This is what happens to people who get close to you. They get destroyed. Not if I protect them. I don't want to be protected. Maya shouted, her voice breaking. I want to live my life without looking over my shoulder. I want my grandmother to be able to go to church without photographers following her. I want to apply for jobs without worrying that hiring managers have seen articles questioning my qualifications. I want. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I want to stop feeling like I'm drowning. Min-jae's heart was shattering with every word. Maya, please. Let me help. Let me find out who's doing this. I know who's doing this, Maya said quietly. So do you. Seo-Yeon. Of course. Min-jae closed his eyes, fury and helplessness warring inside him. I'll stop her. You can't. Maya's voice was gentle now, sad. She has more power than you think. Her family has more power. And even if you could stop her, there would be someone else. Another enemy. Another threat. Because that's the price of being with you, Min-jae. Constant warfare. And she took a shaky breath. I'm not a warrior. I'm just a girl from Brooklyn who wanted to help people. I can't survive in your world. Then I'll leave it, Min-jae said desperately. I'll walk away from the company, the money, all of it. We can start over somewhere else, somewhere they can't find us. And do what? Work minimum wage jobs while your family hunts us down? Live in hiding for the rest of our lives. Maya shook her head, tears streaming down her face. That's not a life, Min-jae. That's a prison. At least we'd be together. Would we? Maya's voice was raw. Or would you resent me eventually? Blame me for everything you gave up? Would I spend every day feeling guilty for taking you away from the life you were born into? She wiped her eyes roughly. I've been thinking about this for days. And the truth is we met too soon. Maybe in another life, another time, when you figured out who you are without your family name and I've built a career that can't be destroyed by gossip columns. Maybe then we could work. But not now. Not like this. So that's it. Min-jae's voice was hollow. You're giving up? I'm choosing survival, Maya said quietly. For me and for my grandmother. I'm choosing a life where I don't have to be afraid every time my phone rings. Where my accomplishments aren't questioned because I'm dating the wrong person. Where I can just breathe. The silence stretched between them, heavy with all the things they couldn't say, all the possibilities dying in the cold October air. Finally, Min-jae spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. I love you. Maya's breath caught. Don't. I do. I know it's too soon. I know it's crazy, but Maya, I love you. You're the first person in my entire life who saw me, really saw me, and didn't want something in return. You're the first person who made me think about what I want instead of what I'm supposed to want. You're the first person who made me feel human instead of just valuable. His voice cracked. Don't ask me to let that go without a fight. Then fight for yourself, Maya said, tears streaming down her face. Fight to become the person you want to be, not the person your father made you. Fight to write those poems and live that life. But don't fight for me, because I can't be the reason you burn your world down. I can't carry that weight. She turned to leave, but Min-jae caught her hand. If I let you walk away now, if I respect your choice and disappear from your life like you're asking, will you promise me one thing? Maya looked back at him, her heart breaking. What? If I change things? If I build a life where you don't have to be afraid, where loving me doesn't mean losing yourself, will you give us another chance? Maya wanted to say yes, wanted to promise him forever. But looking at the pain in his eyes, the impossible hope, she knew that would be cruel. Ask me again when you're free, she whispered. When you've figured out who Kong Min-jae is without all the expectations and obligations. When you've written your poetry and lived your truth. Ask me then, and maybe my answer will be different. She pulled her hand free and walked away, leaving him alone on the rooftop as the sun set over Manhattan, painting the sky in shades of gold and red, beautiful and heartbreaking, like everything about their impossible love. Maya didn't go home immediately. Instead, she found herself on the Brooklyn Bridge, staring out at the water, trying to convince herself she'd made the right choice. Her phone had been buzzing nonstop, messages from Min-jae, messages from reporters, messages from numbers she didn't recognize. She turned it off. For the first time in a week, silence. Just the sound of traffic and water and her own heartbeat, slowly returning to normal. Maya Johnson? She turned to find a woman standing a few feet away. Late 50s, expensive clothes, sharp eyes. Something about her was familiar, but Maya couldn't place it. I don't talk to reporters, Maya said automatically. I'm not a reporter. The woman moved closer. I'm Min-jae's mother. Young Hyejin. Maya's blood ran cold. I've been wanting to meet you, Hyejin continued, her voice smooth, cultured. The woman who captured my son's heart. The one he's willing to throw everything away for. I'm not. We're not. I just ended things with him. I know. I had someone following you. Hyejine's smile didn't reach her eyes. You made the right choice. My son thinks he's in love, but he's confused. He's rebelling against his father, his family, his responsibilities. And you're just collateral damage in that rebellion. That's not true, Maya said, even though part of her wondered. Isn't it? Tell me, Maya, what do you really know about my son? That he likes poetry? That he's unhappy with his life? Everyone is unhappy at 31. It doesn't mean they throw away billion-dollar empires for social workers from Brooklyn. Hyejine's tone was gentle, almost kind, which made her words cut deeper. You seem like a smart girl. Smart enough to understand that some worlds aren't meant to mix. My son will move on. He'll marry someone appropriate, take over the company, fulfill his destiny. And you'll build your community center, help your families live a good life. Everyone gets what they need. Except Min-jae, Maya said quietly. He gets what everyone else needs from him. For the first time, Hyejine's expression flickered, surprise maybe or respect. He told me you were perceptive. You've talked to him about me? He talks about nothing else. Hyejin sighed, looking suddenly tired. My son is brilliant, but he's also naive. He thinks love conquers all, that if he just wants something badly enough, he can make it work. But I've lived in this world for 30 years, Maya. I've seen what happens to people who don't fit. They get eaten alive. Like you did. The words were out before Maya could stop them. Hyejin's eyes sharpened. Excuse me. You married into the Kong family. You must have been an outsider once too. Did they eat you alive? Or did you just become one of them? The silence was loaded. Then, unexpectedly, Hyejin laughed, a sound without humor. Clever girl. Yes, I was an outsider once. A pianist from a middle-class family who fell in love with a chaebol heir. And you know what I learned? Love isn't enough. It burns bright and hot and beautiful, and then it burns out, and you're left with ashes and regrets and a life you no longer recognize. I'm sorry, Maya said, and meant it. Don't be. I made my choices. I chose security over passion, family over independence, duty over dreams. And some days I'm at peace with that. Other days, Hyejin looked out at the Manhattan skyline. Other days I hear piano music and remember the girl who wanted to play Carnegie Hall. But we all make sacrifices, don't we? Not everyone, Maya said softly. Some people fight. And some people are smart enough to know when they're outmatched. Hyejin pulled out a business card, pressing it into Maya's hand. My private number. If you ever need anything, a job reference, protection from reporters, help with your grandmother's medical expenses, call me. Consider it compensation for doing what needed to be done. I don't want your money. Everyone wants something, Hyejin said simply. You'll call eventually. They always do. She walked away, leaving Maya alone on the bridge with a business card and a sick feeling in her stomach. Was that her future? 30 years from now, would she be the one telling some young girl to give up on love? Would she be the one who chose security over passion and spent decades wondering what if? Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She'd forgotten she turned it off. No, wait, this was a different phone. A burner phone she'd bought yesterday when the threats started escalating. One new message. Good girl. You made the right choice. Your grandmother is safe now. But just to make sure you stay away, I've attached a little insurance. Enjoy your normal life, Maya Johnson. The attachment loaded slowly. A video file. Maya's hands shook as she pressed play. It was footage from a security camera. Min-jae in what looked like his office, arguing with his father. The date stamp showed yesterday. The audio was clear. I'm done, Min-jae was saying, his voice tight with fury. Done pretending I want this life. Done sacrificing my happiness for your business dealings. I'm walking away from the company, father. I'm walking away from all of it. For a girl you've known 2 weeks? His father's voice was cold, contemptuous. Don't be a fool, Min-jae. I'm a fool for waiting this long. I'm 31 years old, and I've never made a single choice for myself. Well, I'm making one now. I choose her. I choose. You choose nothing. His father's hand slammed down on the desk. The company is your obligation. The family name is your obligation. That girl is a distraction you'll forget in 6 months. I won't forget her in 6 months. I won't forget her ever. She's the only real thing I've felt since. The video cut off. Below it, another message appeared. He was willing to throw everything away for you. His family, his company, his entire future. All for a Brooklyn social worker he barely knows. How romantic. How stupid. How utterly selfish. You made the right choice, Maya. Because if you had stayed, he would have destroyed himself trying to build a life with you. His father would have disowned him. His mother would have cut him off. He would have nothing. No money, no power, no support. Just you and his naive belief that love conquers all. And when reality set in, when he couldn't provide for you, when he realized what he'd given up, he would have resented you, blamed you, hated you for being the reason his life fell apart. You saved him from himself. Remember that on lonely nights. You sacrificed your happiness for his future. That's real love, Maya. The kind that lets go. Maya watched the video 3 more times, tears streaming down her face. Min-jae had been willing to give up everything. For her. For them. And she'd walked away anyway. But as she stood on the Brooklyn Bridge, watching the sun set over the city that had brought them together and torn them apart, Maya wondered if she'd made the right choice at all. Or if she'd just made the easiest one. 3 weeks later, Maya's life had returned to almost normal. The reporters had moved on to other stories. The gossip columns had found new scandals. Her phone had finally stopped buzzing with unknown numbers. She'd gotten a job at a nonprofit in the Bronx, working with families in crisis. It was exactly what she'd always wanted, meaningful work, helping people who needed it, building the future she'd dreamed of. So why did it feel so hollow? "You're staring at your phone again," her coworker Lisa said. "Waiting for someone to call." No, Maya lied. But she was. Every day, she waited for Min-jae to reach out, to tell her he'd changed his mind, fought his family, chosen himself, to ask her the question she'd told him to save for when he was free. But her phone stayed silent. She told herself it was good, that he was moving on, building his life, becoming the person he was meant to be without her as a distraction. She told herself a lot of things. None of them made the ache in her chest go away. "Maya." Lisa's voice cut through her thoughts. "You have a visitor." Maya looked up, her heart leaping. But it wasn't Min-jae. It was, "Thank you so much for watching episode 2. I know that ending was absolutely heartbreaking, and I'm so sorry for putting you through that emotional roller coaster." Maya and Min-jae's rooftop goodbye had me in tears while writing it. Who do you think walked in? Did Maya make the right choice walking away? Was she protecting herself and her grandmother? Or did she just let fear win? And what about Min-jae's mother showing up on that bridge? Do you think she was trying to help or manipulate Maya? Episode 3 is coming soon, and trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next, because things are about to get even more complicated. Will Maya stick to her decision, or will something pull her back to Min-jae? And what is Seo-Yeon planning now that she's won? If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, and leave me a comment below. Tell me, do you think Maya and Min-jae's love story is over, or is this just the beginning? Are you Team Maya for protecting herself, or do you think she should have fought harder? I'm reading every single comment, and I need to know what you think. And of course, hit that notification bell so you'll be the first to know when episode 3 drops. Your support means absolutely everything to me, and I can't wait to share what's coming next. Until then, remember, sometimes the hardest choice is the one that breaks your heart. See you in episode 3. Don't forget to subscribe.